guys, we are doing a body weight bar class today. So a lot of the stuff we're going to be doing is on the ground, but we'll start standing and just make our way through some different exercises and body parts. So we're going to start, you can see my feet, so that's the most important thing right now. We're just going to start standing, feet and knees together, inner thighs zipped up, nice neutral spine, your arms can be relaxed. Big inhale. And exhale, just try to relax the shoulders down the back, relax the neck. We're just going into little calf raises, so you're just going straight up and down, lifting and lowering the heels. Starting to lift the heels, coming up into that calf raise, and back down with control, working against gravity, against the body weight. Belly button's gonna be lifted in and up under the rib cage, so you're cinching the waist in. At least on those exhales. On your inhales, try to breathe into the sides of the ribs. So you're expanding the rib cage laterally on every inhale. And doing our best here just to make sure we're not leaning forward or back. We're just going straight up and down, so that long line of energy is reaching up towards the ceiling. All right, go ahead and come back down to flat feet. You can have your hands on your hips now, wide elbows, shoulders are still relaxed. You're just gonna separate the toes, opening the feet into that small turnout first position, and then toes back together. So open, close, close. Try to make sure that that turnout is starting from your hips, so that initial movement is at the hip, in the hip joint. You're externally rotating, so the knees and the toes turn out to either side of the room. That's starting from the hips, but tracking through the knees and the ankles. So just two more. Okay, go ahead and open one more time, and we'll do another set of our calf raises here. You can still keep the hands on the hips. It's okay if your heels separate when you come up, that's natural. And then just coming down, bringing the heels together. So a little lift and lower. And you can think about tightening up through the glutes, lifting the quads up away from the knees, engaging all the muscles in the legs. And that'll help with that line of energy, just reaching straight up to the ceiling. Good, you can always have like a dining room table or chair or countertop next to you to hold on to for balance if you need to just take a second to like relocate to somewhere where you can have some balance. But we're not going to be doing a ton of balance work throughout the class, so you won't need it too much. All right, two more. Okay, go ahead and separate the legs about shoulder width apart. We're gonna keep the feet flat. We're gonna bend the knees to come down into a little plie, and then lengthen the legs to lift. So down and up. Good, so just keeping neutral spine. We're not necessarily touching the tailbone. Just keeping that natural curve in the back, but we're also not pitching forward. So try to keep the torso mostly upright. You're not leaning forward as you come down. Good, making sure those knees are tracking towards the second and third toes, and making sure you're really using all the muscles in the legs to help you lift each time. So hamstrings and glutes are working, rooting the heels into the ground. Also lifting the quads up away from the knees, just tightening up all those muscles. Last two. All right, we're gonna hold low and just pulse the hips up and down. So a couple inches up, couple inches down, breathing through that movement. And then we're gonna hold it low, hips stable, knees pulse out to the sides. So just think about pressing the knees out and back. Don't think about them really pulling in towards each other at all. They're gonna naturally come in a little bit. You wanna really focus on the press out and back towards the wall behind you. All right, guys. Now you can bring those elbows towards your ribs, palms face each other. Hold the knees stable, come a little bit lower. We're gonna lift and reach over to the right side of the room, lifting that left heel up off the mat. Come back down. You're reaching your arm long towards the ceiling and bicep by the ear as you go side to side. One heel lifts. Nice big side stretch through the torso. And then you can pick the pace up once you get the flow of that. So just breathing normally through that movement. Taking it as slow as you need to make sure you're not straining those inner thighs or anything. Good, last 3. Each side. One more here. Good, come back down through center. Can let the arms come down. You can stand heel to the feet towards each other. We're going to go into some chair position. So I'm going to turn to the side so you can see me a little bit better. The feet and knees are going to be together. You'll zip up your inner thighs. You're going to sit the hips down and back. So think about pulling the knees back almost over the ankles as you sit back. And then torso's pitched forward, abs and ribs are still pulled into the back body but flat back. Reaching the arms up towards the ceiling, biceps up by the ears. Hips are going to pulse up and down, working through the backs of the legs. Think about the belly button still pulling in and up under the ribs. So nice strong core, breathing through that movement. And then we'll hold that low position, pump the arms back, arms up and back towards the ceiling and towards the wall behind you. Little pulses back with the arms. All right, and then arms come down. Flip the palms back. So the arms are long by the sides of the body, but palms face up to the ceiling. Again, we're pressing the arms back, just at this different angle. Getting into the triceps and feeling all those upper back muscles working to help with that movement. Try to stay low in your chair. All right, guys. Bring the arms down. Step back a little bit if you need to. We're going to take the left leg straight back, point the toes. The right leg is still in a little bit of a bend. We're going to practice pitching the torso forward towards the ground and lifting that left leg off the ground at the same time. So one long line from the head to the back foot ideally, so that everything is straight, the back and the leg. And then the standing leg works to bring us up towards upright, but not all the way, just keeping this kind of 45-degree angle. So the glute and the hamstring on that the right leg are really working to help you complete that movement. So when you're ready, just tipping forward, making sure that you're not just moving the torso, you're not just moving the leg, they're moving together as one piece. So you're just hinging through this right hip. You don't have to come all the way like parallel to the ground. You can just pitch forward a few inches. It's just whatever feels okay for your body today. One more. All right, guys, left foot down. Shake it out a little bit. Same thing on the other side. Bend into that left leg, straighten that right leg back. Make sure the hips are squared off towards the ground. Arms relaxed down. So pitching the torso forward, lifting that right leg up at the same time. Squeezing through the back of that left leg. That moving leg as strong and as straight as you can. All right, one more. together, shake it out a little bit. All right, we're gonna come down into an all fours position. So hands and knees. Hands right underneath the shoulders, knees right underneath the hips. You want a nice flat back, neutral spine. We're gonna go into some cat-cows to start though. So you'll start to stick the tailbone towards the ceiling, let the belly drop down, lift the head, lift the chest, big inhale. And as you exhale, tuck the tailbone under, scoop your abs in, drop your head down, let the neck be super soft. And then big inhale, releasing. And big exhale to ground. All right, so come back to that neutral spine, flat back. We're gonna bring the left hand back behind the head and the neck. So that elbow points out to the left side of the room. You're gonna rotate the chest open to the left and gently look to the left as well, opening the chest up, creating mobility through the back, and then coming back to center or neutral. Exhale to rotate. Inhale, come back to center. One more time. And then center, bring that left hand down. Same thing, other side, right hand behind the head and the neck. Exhale as you twist. Inhale back. One more. Okay, we're gonna tuck the toes under and lift the knees just an inch or two off the mat. So coming into a little hover. Nice strong core. We're gonna step the right leg back, step it forward, left leg back, right leg back, forward, left leg, right leg. So one at a time, you're alternating. Big deep breaths. Just slow and controlled. One more each side. All right, guys, lift the hips up and back. Drop the heels towards the ground. We're gonna just lift the heels high and lower the heels closer to the mat again. Okay, and then alternate one heel towards the mat at a time. So the heel that's lifting, that same leg knee is bending, so that you can get that nice stretch through the calves and the hamstrings. All right, guys, come forward into a plank just for a moment. So lower the hips, make sure you have that long straight line from the crown of the head all the way back to those heels. Everything's strong, you're tightening up all the muscles in the leg. You're just holding it for 4, 3, 2, 1. Gently bend the knees to bring them down to the mat. We're gonna do some side laying leg work. So I'm gonna have you guys lay on one side. You're gonna have let's prop ourselves up on our forearm today. So you'll have your elbow right underneath your shoulder. And then this whole bottom side, waist and side of the torso right here is lifted away from the ground. So you're not sinking down, you're not lifting the shoulder up towards the ears, shoulder down the back, and then also that torso lifts. Go ahead and bend your knees so that your knees are directly forward of your hips. Hips are stacked. We're gonna bring that top leg just straight out in line with the rest of the body. So point the toes, get the leg lifted to hip height, tighten up all the muscles in the leg there. Make sure that the hips aren't rocking forward. They want to be stacked right on top of one another. You're going to kick that leg towards the wall in front of you to about a 90-degree angle. You want to make sure you're not rounding your spine to do that. So keep a neutral spine, that flat, natural curve in the back. So as far forward as you can kick the leg without allowing the spine to change shape, the back to change shape, okay? Bring it back to in line with the hip. Bring the leg forward and back. So the leg should be the only thing moving. Your back and spine should not be changing shape at all or moving much, okay? Using the core to help with that. So The more engaged that your abdominals are, the stronger the core you have, or that you're like working into it and focusing on it, the easier it is it's going to be to keep the hips stable and not rocking back and forth. All right, guys, keep the leg back there, flex the foot, little pulses up to the ceiling. So watch that bottom side waist, make sure it's lifted. You're still just lifting and lowering that top leg. And then bring it to the bottom front corner of the mat, point the toes, little circles through that hip. Keeping the leg as straight as we can. Go ahead and switch direction. Doing our best to keep it lifted as well. Now that's really hard, it just wants to drop to the ground. All right, last one, flex the foot. You're gonna bend the knee in towards your chest and then lengthen the leg out and back a little bit. We're just gonna do 3 of these because my legs are already really tired, but yours are too. Okay, go ahead and bring the leg back down. Good job, you guys. You can prop yourself up and we'll stretch that side out before we do the other side. So bring both feet out in front of you, and then you can take your 4 stretch. So you're gonna cross whichever leg you were just working. For me, it's the left ankle up and over the right thigh. Flex the foot. So just take a second there, try to let the hip and the glute stretch out a little bit. Big deep breath. And then when you're ready, we'll switch sides all together for the leg kicks and other movements first. So opposite forearm on the ground, elbow underneath the shoulder. Hips are in line with where that elbow is. They're stacked, so they're not rocking forward or back. They're right on top of one another. The whole bottom side waist is lifted away from the ground as well. Knees are right in front of those hips. Take that top leg straight out in line with the body. Point the toes, legs as straight as you can get it. You're kicking it forward and exhale, kick back. So breathing through that movement, keeping the leg lifted hip height, cinching the waist in. Only bringing the leg as far forward as you're able to without changing the shape in the back. It's just being aware of that. It doesn't have to be a huge movement. You just want to make sure your form is intact. You can place a hand on your low back if that helps. Or if you're not sure, it will help you. It'll give you feedback of how much your back is moving. All right, guys, we'll keep the leg back there. Flex the foot, little pulses up to the ceiling. Try to keep the leg lifted hip height. We want to pulse higher than that. And then point the toes, bring it to that bottom front corner, little circles through the hip. And switch direction. Guys, and then flex the foot, just 3 of these, bend the knee in towards the chest, lengthen the leg back out, bend, lengthen. All right, go ahead and relax the legs down. Come back up into that all fours, or not all fours, but seated for your figure 4 stretch. So your right ankle crosses over the left thigh, flexed foot, big deep breath. And we're just letting that hip and glute stretch out. So big inhale, big exhale. Taking your time there. Okay, and then we'll go ahead and come onto our backs for bridging. So you're gonna have, you can have the feet and knees hips width apart. Take the arms out to the wall in front of you, sit as tall as you can, big inhale, You'll start to tuck the tailbone under, scoop the abs in, and slowly roll the spine down onto the mat behind you. Head comes down last. So then once you get there, you can readjust as you need. You're gonna bring the feet a lot closer to the body, so heels close to the glutes. Feet are still hips width apart, and then arms relax into the mat beside you. So take an inhale, tuck the tailbone under. As you exhale, lift the hips and spine up off the mat, one bone at a time. At the top, make sure you're balanced on your shoulder girdle, so your shoulder blades are still connected to the mat. And we're just in this kind of average bridge lift. You're not arching your back, you're not lifting so high that you're on your neck. We're gonna roll back down slow, one bone at a time. Tailbone comes down. So make sure the tailbone is down. You're not like here at the end of every movement. You're all the way down. And you find that natural curve in your back again. Okay, so the pelvis has time to reset to neutral. And then it tips. You tuck the tailbone under, squeeze through the glutes and the hamstrings, lift the hips and spine up off the mat. As you're rolling down, think about the upper back coming down first, then the mid back, then the low back, then the tailbone. So it's slow and controlled. We want to make sure we're working through as many articulations as we can through the spine. So we're getting one bone at a time onto the mat. We're working through as many sticky spots as we can. Getting the spine and the back stretched out. Okay, on the next one, we're going to hold the lift. And then little circles through the waist. So just creating mobility through the back. Okay guys, go ahead and switch direction. Big deep breaths. Alright, and then rolling down slow. And again, we're going to lift up. Bring the left leg up into tabletop. Point the toes, keep the hips lifted and level. Keep the leg in a 90-degree angle. As you tap the foot to the mat, lift the leg right back up. So standing really strong into that opposite foot that's on the ground. And really strong core, helping to keep the hips level and stable instead of rocking side to side. Okay, last one. Bring this leg straight up to the ceiling, flex the foot, point the foot. Alright, we're going to flex and hold. Let that left leg lower towards about 45, maybe a little bit lower. Point the toes, kick it up. 2 more. Bend into that left knee, bring the left foot down. Roll the spine down slow. Alright guys, same thing on the other side. So tuck the tailbone under, inhale. Exhale, peel the hips and spine up off the mat. Bring that right leg up into tabletop when you're ready. Pointed toes, hips are level and lifted. We're going to tap that right foot to the mat, lift it back up. You can always kind of check in with your hips if you need to, but try to keep your head down. Most of the time we don't want to strain the neck, so you shouldn't be looking at your knees the whole time. You should be looking at the ceiling. Last one, keep the leg lifted, extend it to the ceiling, flex and point the foot 3 times. And then we're going to flex the foot, lower the leg to about that 45-degree angle, point the toes to kick it out. Last one. Good. Bend that knee again, gently bring the foot back down, roll your spine down slow. Okay, we're going to turn into Pilates V, or first position, so heels together, toes apart with those feet. So you're now naturally turned out, not letting the knees drop wide to either side of the room. You want to make sure they're only open within the distance, the width of your shoulders. So Knees are shoulder width apart, and they're lined up with the second and third toes, and that's gonna make it a lot harder. You still wanna be feeling like you're challenged and making an effort. So heels together, tuck the tailbone under, roll the hips up, spine up off the mat. Find that nice high bridge, neck and shoulders are relaxed. Lift your heels, keeping them connected. Bring the knees together, knees open wide. Knees together, and here the knees can open wider than your shoulder girdle while we're up here. Okay, so as wide of an opening as feels okay. Think about squeezing into those outer glutes, outer thighs, and hips. And then inner thighs work to draw the legs together every time. Okay, hold the knees wide, pulse the knees out to either side of the room. And the knees come back together or closer to each other, just shoulder width apart. And then roll the spine down slow. Lower your heels. You can turn the feet parallel. Bring both knees one at a time into the chest. Give the knees a big hug. You can kind of rock the back out side to side. All right. We are going to do some single leg circles. So you'll straighten your right leg all the way out onto the mat, and then extend the left leg straight up to the ceiling. Right foot is going to be flexed, left foot's going to be pointed. You'll externally rotate the left leg. So from parallel, turn the knee and toes out. That's happening from the hip. You're going to take that leg across the body only so much as this left hip stays down. And then you're gonna take the leg down towards the ground, out to the side only so much as the right side of the body stays down. Lift the leg and bring it to 90 again. So inhale across, exhale down, around and up. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. We wanna keep the pelvis and the hips as stable and as level as we can. Keeping a strong core to help with that. Making sure we're not swinging the leg wildly all over the place and creating tipping or lifting of the hips. And we're going to switch direction. So inhale out to the left, exhale down, around and up. Inhale out, exhale. It's really like a large oval, not so much of a circle. So just making sure that you're pretty much staying within the frame of your body or of your mat specifically. All right, guys, give the knee a big hug into the chest. Compress that hip. You can take the knee to the outside shoulder. And then across the body, to the opposite shoulder, letting that hip release a little bit. So in the IT band, the glute, everything's being stretched out. Go ahead and switch the legs out. So your right leg, knee pulls into the chest. Make sure the left leg extends all the way out onto the mat. The foot is flexed. Right leg straight up, point the toes, externally rotate. Inhale, take the leg across the body. Exhale down, around and up. Inhale across. Make sure those abdominals stay turned on, super strong core. You're taking it as slow as you need to keep it in control and in form, okay? So making sure those hips aren't rocking side to side. You can put your hands there if you need to. The obliques, the side abdominals have to work really hard to help with that stability. We're gonna switch direction, out to the right, down, around, and up. All right, give the knee a big hug into the chest. Compressing that hip. And then taking it to the right side shoulder, the outside shoulder. And then taking it across the body. Alright guys, we're going to have both legs up into tabletop. So you're going to imprint the low back, lift the knees up above the hips, shins parallel to the floor. Take a big inhale. You can reach the arms up to the ceiling as well. So inhale, nod the chin towards the chest. Exhale as you curl up over the rib cage. Hold that lift. We're going to bring the left knee into the chest and the right leg long to about a 45-degree angle, and use your arms to help you curl up a little bit higher. You can also lower that extended leg, pointed toes. We're going to switch legs. Good. And we're going to exhale for both legs and inhale for both. One more each side. Full breath. Okay. Both knees pull in. You can let your head and chest drop down. You can turn the head side to side for a moment. Let the neck stretch out. Okay. Back to center one more time. We're going to curl up into that same little ball position. So inhale. Exhale, curl the chest up over the rib cage. Use your arms to lift you a little bit higher. Both knees pull in. Both legs are going to extend out to about a 45-degree angle as we reach the arms back. So inhale, arms back, legs forward. Exhale, circle the arms around, pull the knees in. Good. You can either circle the arms out to the sides, or you can just bring them forward and down. But using those low abdominals to pull the knees in. Last one. Okay. Head and chest down. Take a breath. Legs come back up into tabletop. Imprint that low back. So you really got to pull the abs down to help with that. Separate the feet and the knees, hips width apart. We're going to take the right foot down to the ground or just towards it as low as you can go, and then switch legs as low as you can go without lifting the low back or feeling any pain through the low back. So we want to make sure we stay imprinted. We're using the low abdominals to help with that movement. One more each side. All right, right foot down. You can keep it there. Bring the left foot down. Take a breath. All right, and then we're gonna flip over onto our stomach. So, you're on your stomach on the mat. You're gonna have the hands right underneath your shoulders. So pull them back, lower the chest down a bit as well. Your legs are gonna be extended long to the wall behind you. So just make sure you have pointed toes, legs are straight, you're tightening up all the muscles in the legs. So you can squeeze the glutes Squeezing the glutes will automatically make you feel like you kind of want to tuck the tailbone under. You'll have that like just reaction. So tailbone is tucked, abs are scooped in, which lifts them off the mat a little bit. You're gonna inhale, lift the head, lift the chest, keep the elbows close to the body. Exhale, use your arms and upper back strength to lift yourself up a little bit higher, as much as feels okay on your back. Keep the shoulders down the back and then roll down slow. Belly down, chest down, head down last. All right, same thing. Inhale, eyes lift, chest lifts. Exhale, pushing into the mat, using all of that upper body strength. Make sure the shoulders are down your back, your arms are not straight. Well, your arms can be straight as long as your shoulders aren't up towards your ears. We want the shoulders to be down. So as high as you can come up, your arms don't have to be straight, because some of us aren't that flexible to where we can come up so high that the arms will be long, okay? So don't worry about how the arms are, just make sure you're coming up as high as feels okay on your back. One more time, inhale, lift the eyes, lift the chest, exhale. Nice strong core, your abs are still supporting your back body. Shoulders are down the back the whole time, no matter how high you're coming up. And then rolling back down. Okay. Go ahead and come up. Lift the hips up and back. We're gonna go into some push-ups. We'll do diamond push-ups today. So you're gonna have thumbs and forefingers together. So your hands create kind of that diamond, maybe like a triangle, but that's the idea. Thumb and forefingers together. You're gonna have knees together. Press the hips forward, lift the feet. If you want to be in this modified plank, otherwise you're in full plank with straight legs, knees lifted. So inhale, lower the chest, bend the elbows wide. Exhale to push up. So getting those triceps. Last 3. Nice job, you guys. Gently shift the weight back. You can bring your knees closer to you and separate them the width of the mat. Step back into child's pose. So hips back to the heels. Let your chest drop down. Let the head come down. Reach the arms long. Take a few breaths there. All right, you guys, coming back up into that all fours position. Okay, so nice flat back, neutral spine. We're gonna take the left leg, or the right leg, I'm sorry, straight back. Point the toes, have the leg lifted and energized. You're gonna tap the foot to the ground, just tap the toes, lift the leg right back up to hip height. So simple, lower and lift to start. Good for 4, 3, 2, 1. Now we're gonna take that leg back and down behind the opposite leg. So the right foot is going to the bottom left corner of the mat. Lift it up and down to the right. Tap it down to the left, lift it to the right. So lots of oblique work, helping to keep everything stable through the torso. But you're also really working that outer glute, outer thigh, hip. Okay, bend the leg. You can keep the toes pointed. We're gonna lift the right knee here out to the right, back, and down. So you're circling through that hip. One more. We're gonna switch direction. So lift it back, out, and in. Same thing other side. Taking a little break if you need to, but just make sure your abs and ribs are still lifted up into the back when you reset. Flat back. Take that left leg straight back. Point the toes. Keep the leg lifted and energized. We're tapping the foot down, lifting the leg right back up. So, keeping those abs lifted. Tightening up all the muscles in those legs. Alright, bringing that foot down behind the opposite leg, up and out to the left. 2 more. Okay, bend the knee, circling the leg out to the side, back and down. Keeping the leg bent in that 90-degree angle. Go ahead and switch direction. Go ahead and bring the knees back down. You can do knees together, child pose this time if that feels good. Let the back stretch out, reach the arms forward. Inhale. Exhale. One more breath. Walk the hands back to your knees. Come to upright. Take a second, just roll the shoulders up, back, and down. Take a few breaths. Alright, we're going to lift the hips up off the heels so you're in a tall kneeling position. Separate the knees, butt, hips width apart. We're going to have the arms in a genie arm position, one forearm over the other, out in front of you, arms are bent, elbows are lifted, shoulder height. Keep a long straight line from the head to the knees, so you can almost tuck the tailbone under a little bit. You're going to hinge through your knees, take the whole body back a few inches, and then come forward as you exhale. Okay, inhale back. Exhale, as you move forward, you're squeezing into the glutes. You're using your core to help with that. So just make sure that everything's turned on and nothing's really relaxed here. 2 more. And then last one, inhale. Exhale, brings you up. Good. Bring the arms down. Okay, so you can come, you're still in that kneeling position, you're going to tuck the toes under so the balls of the feet and the toes are on the mat, so maybe you have a little bit better grip. We're going to reach the arms up to the ceiling, palms forward, bend the elbows wide, bring the arms into this kind of goal pose position, and you can arch your back a little bit, maybe look up towards the ceiling, draw the shoulders down the back, draw the elbows wide, and then reach forward and you can almost round your spine, curling the chest forward over the ribs a little bit, and then inhale, wide elbows, or exhale there, whichever one feels better. Exhale, open the chest up, one more. Okay, and then bring the arms out and down. We're just going to kind of rotate a little bit, twirl side to side, let the torso release a little bit, let the arms relax. Okay, and then we'll stretch the legs out. So you can come down gently. Bring the bottoms of the feet together for butterfly. So feet together, knees wide. You can stay upright here if that feels like enough of a stretch for you. if that's not enough, you need a little bit more intense of a stretch, you can always push the torso forward like this. Your hands can be on your knees, or your elbows can be on your knees to help kind of press them towards the ground, so that'll increase the stretch if you need it. With a deep breath there. Some people like to rock side to side too, whatever feels good. You can do any of that seated as well. Alright guys, we're going to extend the left leg straight forward. Flex the foot. Extend, just folding the torso back, flat back, forward over that extended leg. And just letting the hamstring and the calf stretch out. And then if you'd like to drop your head down, round your spine a little bit more, bring the forehead towards your knee. Maybe reach the arms a little bit further forward. Okay, and then gently rolling up to upright, and then again, that same leg just opens out to the side. So we get more of an inner thigh and hamstring stretch on this one. So grab onto the outer edge of that left foot, reach your right arm up and over, big side stretch at the same time as that inner thigh stretch. So big deep breath there. And then you guys can carefully switch sides. So come to upright again. Bend that left leg in. Take the right leg just straight forward in front of the hip. Take the torso forward, keeping the back flat to start. And then when you're ready, you can round the spine, drop the head. Big deep breath. And then taking the leg out to the side and reaching for the outer edge of that extended leg foot. The left arm reaches up and over, big deep breath there. Alright guys, and when you're ready, you can carefully come up out of that. We're just going to take a roll down to finish. So you can come up however you're able to. Feet and knees are going to be just hips width apart, so a little bit of a bend into the knees. You can take a big inhale, reach the arms out and up towards the ceiling. Reach up a little bit higher so your shoulders lift up towards your ears, and then just draw your shoulders down the back. Take an inhale, nod the chin towards the chest. Round the spine down and forwards. You're into kind of a heavy hanging forward fold at the bottom. You can place the fingertips or flat hands on the mat. Straighten one leg and bend into the opposite knee. And then switch legs. One more time each side. One leg bends. And switch. And then a little bit of a bend into both knees. Grab onto opposite elbows. Sway the upper body side to side. And then let go of the elbows, let the arms dangle. Inhale. Exhale, scoop the abs in as you restack the spine, coming up nice and slow, one bone at a time. Equal weight into both legs and each side of each foot. And we're very slowly restacking, feeling control over that movement, and that head comes up last, and you can roll the shoulders up, back, and down. All right, and then you guys are all set. Awesome job today. Thanks for coming.